My son has been eating more than usual. First I thought it was puberty, but now I think it's cannibalism. I knew it had gotten worse when he started consuming his white goon, or when I found the teeth marks on the raw steak in the fridge. Human teeth marks, small and deliberate, carved into meat that should have been cooked. My 15-year-old son Liam had bitten into it like an apple and put it back. The indentations matched his dental records perfectly, the slightly crooked canine on the left side leaving its signature. I stood there in my kitchen at 2 in the morning, holding that violated piece of beef under the fluorescent light, and felt my stomach turn over. This wasn't normal teenage behavior. This wasn't a growth spurt or some weird dietary experiment. The meat was cold, straight from the refrigerator, and the bite marks were fresh enough that saliva still glistened along the edges. I wrapped it in paper towels and threw it in the trash, then immediately pulled it back out and put it in a plastic bag. Evidence of what? I didn't know yet. But some instinct told me I'd need proof of this moment later. Being a single father to a teenage boy was hard enough without mysteries like this. Liam's mother died when he was 8. A car accident that happened so fast I didn't get to say goodbye. For 7 years it had been just us, navigating grief and adolescence together in our small house. I worked as an accountant from home, which meant I was always available when Liam needed me. We had our routines, our inside jokes, our Thursday night pizza tradition. He was a good kid, quiet and studious, the type who preferred reading sci-fi novels to playing sports. Nothing in his life suggested he'd start eating raw meat in secret at night, but the evidence was there in my hand, wrapped in plastic, impossible to deny. I shoved it to the back of the freezer behind frozen vegetables and tried to convince myself I was overreacting. The next morning, Liam came downstairs for breakfast looking perfectly normal. He poured himself a huge bowl of cereal and added what looked like half a gallon of milk. I watched him eat 3 bowls in rapid succession, barely chewing, shoveling spoonfuls into his mouth with mechanical efficiency. When I mentioned he seemed extra hungry, he shrugged and said he'd been working out more, trying to bulk up for track season. It was a reasonable explanation. Teenage boys did that. After he left for school, I went to his room. I'd always respected his privacy, never snooped without reason, but raw meat with bite marks constituted reason enough. His room was cleaner than usual, which itself felt wrong. Liam was naturally messy, leaving clothes on the floor and books scattered across his desk. Now everything was organized with an almost obsessive precision. I started with his closet, pushing aside hanging shirts and checking pockets. Nothing unusual. His desk drawers held the normal teenage detritus, old assignments and broken pencils and charging cables. Under his bed, I found his laptop, which I knew was wrong because he took it to school every day. I opened it and the screen lit up without requiring a password. Another red flag since Liam was usually paranoid about his privacy. The browser history had been cleared recently, not like mine always, but when I checked his downloads folder, I found dozens of PDFs, medical articles about rare eating disorders, forum posts about unusual dietary cravings, scientific papers on something called pica. One document was titled Prader-Willi Syndrome and Compulsive Eating Behaviors. I skimmed through it, my chest tightening with each paragraph. The syndrome caused insatiable hunger, but nothing in the literature mentioned raw meat or the kind of feral behavior I'd witnessed. Liam was researching his own symptoms, trying to self-diagnose whatever was happening to him. The fact that he hadn't come to me hurt worse than the mystery itself. The refrigerator became a battleground over the next 2 weeks. I'd stock it with normal groceries, and within days everything would be gone. Not just the meat, though that disappeared fastest, but cheese, lunch meat, even the eggs I'd bought for weekend breakfast. I started marking the food with tape and dates, trying to track consumption patterns. A pound of ground beef vanished overnight. An entire package of chicken breasts gone in 24 hours. I confronted Liam about it gently, asking if he was feeling okay, if maybe we should see a doctor about his appetite. He got defensive immediately, snapping that he was fine and I was being paranoid. His voice cracked with puberty and anger, and he stormed up to his room, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the hinges. I stood at the bottom of the stairs listening to him pace above me, back and forth, like a caged animal measuring its cell. That night I heard him leave his room around midnight, his footsteps creaking down the hallway past my bedroom door. I waited 5 minutes before following him downstairs. The kitchen light was off, but the refrigerator door hung open, casting a cold glow across the tile floor. Liam stood in that light, his back to me, and what he did will haunt me forever. Full story is linked below or on my channel.